planner from staff who will be introducing each agenda item. And then the applicant, if they are present, will be asked to bring points forward regarding their application that has come forward. Citizens in attendance will then be able to address the concerns or the pros and cons of what they are hearing and what is coming forward that's presented in the evening. I would ask that when people do come up that they state their name and address, and also regardless of what anyone's position is, we certainly speak in a respectful manner and listen carefully to the points that are being discussed. Once you've had the opportunity to hear all the information that is presented, then the APC will have the opportunity to deliberate the application that has come forward to us, and then ultimately we will make a recommendation to put forward to the City Council. That's our order of where we are going. At this point in time, I would ask for adoption of the minutes. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of September 12, 2018? Seems like a long time ago that we had a meeting.
Madam Chair, sorry, this has been brought to my attention that we may not have a quorum.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, thank you. I just, Joshua's not here, and who? Oh, Dorothy. I didn't even look. You're right, we don't have a quorum, so we cannot continue. Yes, but yeah, it's 5 out of. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. While we are endeavoring to find out if anybody is on their way, I would take this opportunity, because we do have some new people here, to welcome our 2 new councillors who will be sitting on the commission as non-voting members. Councilman Stuart Parkinson and also Councilman Michael Baxter. Welcome. And I would also ask our planner, Dennis Carlson, perhaps in the interim, if you could explain the reorganization and the change of what's happening in planning and what's happening with who APC now has a go-to person.
Sure. So previously, there was the planning department that dealt with both current and policy issues. After the OCP was adopted, the decision was made that they wanted to focus efforts on the implementation of the OCP. So largely for that reason, the planning department has been split, so to speak, into 2 departments. Ian Boorhill, who was previously the director of planning, will now be the director of long range and sustainability, with primary responsibility for implementing the OCP. Brent Molnar, who was the manager of development services and also our approving officer, is now the director of development services and responsible for rezoning applications, subdivisions, development variance permits, primarily. Madam Chair, if the councillors in attendance also are interested, perhaps the members of the APC would want to introduce themselves to the councillors, but I take direction from the councillors.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Paula Young. Do you want to know about us, or?
Colleen Brownlee.
Madam Chair, you're doing a great job of buying time, by the way. This is good.
The jokes come next.
So, my name is Jeff Simpson, and I function as the land development representative to the APC. I'm a private real estate development consultant, as well as an owner of a small boutique brokerage firm.
My name is Paul DeGreef. I'm a landscape architect, and I'm actually not from Colwood. I was appointed by our professional association and volunteering, so happy to be here.
Just for a little bit of background for those of you perhaps who have not attended in the past, the Advisory Planning Commission was a new direction that City of Colwood chose to go with, having representation from the broader range of the Colwood area. And in doing so, they looked at different representation regarding various aspects, where the community at large, an education representative, environmental representative, etc. So we could have a broader vision of what's happening and how development is occurring in Colwood. I am the education representative. I'm retired school superintendent, school principal, etc. And so that's the background that I bring to this organization. And Paula, your background.
Sure, I'm a community at large representative. My background is in healthcare. I work in innovation and technology.
Would either of our councillors like to make any comments? They're not campaigning now because the election's over, but perhaps you may like to reintroduce yourself, or now you've had one or two meetings under your belt.
Well, you really are stalling for time, aren't you? So I'm Stuart Parkinson. I was a civil engineer, had a small consulting engineering and landscape architecture business in town here for a number of years. Moved to Colwood in 1987. Found that working in Colwood and living in Colwood caused some stresses, so I moved to Metchosin because there's no engineering work ever in Metchosin. After the kids all left home, we moved back to Colwood several years ago, and being retired, I was getting in my wife's hair, so I needed something to do, so I ran for council.
Well, I'm Michael Baxter. Stuart and I have actually worked together quite a lot because I'm an engineer too, and I was the city engineer in Colwood for 10 years, so I worked the other side of the wall there, and before that I was city engineer in Langford. So Stuart and I have worked a lot together, disagreed a lot together, and agreed a lot together, but mostly we've had a lot of laughs. I guess after 2 years in retirement, I hadn't had enough of this place, and I thought I could do some good, so I ran, and here I am.
So since we're killing time, and I'm notorious for telling stories, Michael just reminded me that when I had gone out on a limb and mortgaged everything I owned and pledged everything I own, including all my kids, to buy the branch of the engineering firm that I was working at. Because, as I've been told on many occasions, I make a lousy employee, so I had to buy the business to keep working. And one of the first, recently, after I bought the business, there was a big proposal in Langford to do the first phase of their sewers, a downtown core sewer project, whatever it was. So we were pretty hungry for work, and we wanted this job, and we wrote up a huge proposal, and Michael calls me into his office, and he says, well, Stuart, a pretty good proposal. I'm a little concerned, though, in here, because you talk about, designing 4 kilometers of sewers, but you realize it's 14, don't you? So I had no choice but to say, oh, of course, that's just a typo. Go back and check all my calculations and bluff our way through, but actually it worked out all right. We didn't die on that first project, and away we went.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the fact that we do not have a quorum, the meeting will be postponed till January the 12th. And we are postponing we can postpone the meeting, which means no notices have to go out. So January 12th, we will reconvene at that time. And I apologize for the fact that we do not have everybody here this evening. So we are adjourned.